Hello. I forgot to pull up my thing before so I could read it. And I did not bring my, let's see, which version? I'm going to use the NIV. Mine is not the NIV, but that's the one I'm going to use. There we go. I forgot to bring my notebook up and have my thing. Fernando, you ate breakfast and second breakfast like a little hobbit. 11sies is next, and then lunch, and then whatever. You are not hungry. My Fernando, what can I do for you, kiddo? Listen. Oh, I'm not feeding him again. He had breakfast and second breakfast. Anyway, he's fine. Okay. What was I going to sing? Well, let's do a song first. Rushing wind blow through this temple, blowing out the dust within. Come and breathe your breath upon me. I've been born again. Good morning. Okay. Isaiah 38, for those that don't know, I'm doing the Gratitude Chronicles where I go through all the verses. There are 97 of them in the back of my Bible that talk about gratitude, praise, bless, commend, all the things. Second of all, yes, my bit lip is healing. I am clumsy. I bit my lip and I crunched down and I've got this like poofy little lip now, but my lip is healing, so don't be distracted. Okay, I'm going to read to you the verse and talk to you about the chapter. The chapter is about Hezekiah, which, sidebar, that's my nephew's name. It's the best. We call him Hez, and I love him. Here's what the verse says. For the grave cannot praise you. Death cannot sing your praise. Those who go down to the pit cannot hope for your faithfulness. It's pretty deep. Synopsis, it's too late when you die. It's too late to praise God. It's too late to change your mind. Right? When you're dead, that's it. Anyway, I'm going to give you the synopsis, though. Hezekiah is a king, and he got a sickness and an illness. And in this chapter, it basically talks about how this prophet came and said, the Lord said that, get your affairs in order because I'm taking you home. And he started weeping and praying, and he knelt down and started praying to God, and he was like, please give me more time. And so God gave him 15 more years. And as a confirmation, when the guy came back and said, yes, God's heard you and he's going to give you 15 more years. As a confirmation, there's a set of stairs, and it's talking about in the Bible, when the sun goes down, you can see the shadow on the stairs, and it goes down, 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 down. And so as a confirmation, as the sun was going down, the Lord made the shadow go backwards 10 stairs. I mean, it's pretty cool. So instead of as the sun was going down, the shadow going down, it went up. Anyway, pretty neat. So then he praises the Lord, and he sings praises about how when he was sick and when he felt like he was dying, it was like, it was just like bad. He felt like, oh my gosh, I'm being cut off and whatever. But he was talking about praising the Lord and whatever. Now, listen, let me tell you, I read multiple commentaries because I want to know all the things about whatever I'm trying to read. I didn't read one commentary that I liked. Not that I have to like them, but they were too long. They were too wordy. I mean, some of them, it was like, was it written in 1800s? It was like, thou dost whatever. Listen, I have a comprehension issue. I can't be reading 30 pages of, some sort of early 1800s verbiage and vernacular. It's not going to make sense to me, and I don't have the attention span to go through it. So, I was like, Lord, what's the thing? So I read the little thing at the bottom of mine, and you know what? Honestly, this is the thing that I took away with when I read this, is that it doesn't matter if you're a king or if you're poor, if you're a celebrity or a nobody. Health issues and death are going to come for all of us. They are non-discriminatory. We come into this world every day getting closer to the day that God takes us home, and that's a reality, period. And what I like about Hezekiah, it said in the Bible, is that, when things were good, he prayed. When his health was bad, he prayed. He prayed. And there's also places in the Bible that says, you have not because you ask not. Now, here's the thing. It's just so important to pray. You can change God's mind. You can pray in all the things. Don't go down the rabbit hole of God knew what you were going to pray before you prayed it, and which he did. And he knew he was going to give it to you. He knew the things that he would have given you if you had prayed, but you didn't. Don't do that to yourself. It's just too much. It's too much. But prayer is powerful. And the whole thing is that God sees outside of time. And prayer is to praise God and to have a relationship and communicate with him. But really, it's for us. It's for our hearts to align with what God says. It's for our hearts to have peace that passes understanding. You know what I mean? And God can heal you, or he cannot. But the thing is that if God doesn't heal you physically, or if he doesn't do things in the way that you thought he was going to do them, or that you asked for him to do them, the thing he will do is never leave you, never forsake you. He will lift you in your spirit. He will come alongside you. He will help you get through the health problem or the things that you're going through. He doesn't give you what you need before you need it. He gives you what you need when you need it. So that's kind of what I got. It was and the one thing I did like was this was really cool. In the chapter 38, he had this analogy of a loom. And a loom is when you're making blankets or weaving different things. They have I don't know how they all work, but they have the friggin', what's it called? The yarn or whatever it is. And the loom kind of goes back and forth, right? And each one, it packs a new layer and a new layer. And that's your life each year. All the stuff. And at some point at the end of whatever that blanket or whatever is being woven, it gets cut from the loom. And then you can see the finished work. And it was that's really neat. Because that's kind of what he was saying is our lives. Each year and all the things, we've got one year and the next year passes and it gets packed down and it gets shorter and shorter because that's what God's weaving in us. And one day he cuts us from the loom and we are a finished work and we get to be with him, I really liked that analogy. Anyway, there is a really fine line. I want to just finish this up lastly. There's a really fine line of understanding your power in prayer and not having a name it and claim it mentality. You have not because you ask not, but be humble to know that God doesn't have to do things the way that you say, and that he will give you strength when you need it. His ways are not our ways, but if he doesn't do things in your life the way you wanted, don't stop asking. Don't stop asking, because at some point over time, as you mature and you grow in your faith, your thoughts and prayers become closer and closer and closer aligned to who God is and what he wants for your life, right? That's what I got out of it. But it doesn't matter if you're famous or not. Doesn't matter if you have a ton of money or you're poor. Death and health issues, they come for us all. That's the bottom line. And you know God or you don't. It says, I was watching one of my pastors this morning. Okay, this is the last thing. This is an archer departure where we say goodbye for 7 times. So This is the last thing for real. I was watching one of my pastors this morning, and he was talking about how Jesus spoke to Nicodemus, and he was like, you need to be born again, right? Jesus said you need to be born twice. It's like you're born of this world in the earth, you're born, and then God breathes into your body and he creates you, right? And you need to be born of the Spirit. Like there's two births, and the Spirit is where God breathes into your spirit through the death of his son, Jesus, so that you could have a relationship with him. But like, you have to be born twice. You're born twice and you die once, because when your body dies, you go to be with Jesus. Or you're born once and you die twice. Your body dies and also your spirit gets separated from the Lord. It was very interesting. But anyways, my point is, health and death issues, they're coming for everybody. We're born into that nature. And every day as the weave goes through and the blanket gets larger and the finished product gets closer, God gives you the grace you need. Not before you need it, but when you need it. Don't stop asking for the things in your heart. Don't stop asking for healing. Don't stop asking for all of the things. But also know that if God doesn't give it to you the way that you wanted, his strength and presence is enough. His closeness will lift your heart and your spirit, and he'll give you the ability to get through whatever it is that he's walking through you with. Through with you. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. You go through the valley of the shadow of death, not to it. You don't go to the valley and set up camp. Anyways, I gotta go. I love you like a crazy person. I love it when strange people that I don't know DM me. Hi, Ryan Jacobs. Here's the thing. I'm married and I love my husband and I love Jesus. So thank you. Unless you want salvation, drive through. Anyway, I love you guys like a crazy person. I hope you have a good day. And be good to one another. Don't forget that you are one of the one another's. Don't forget to be good to yourself. It's not selfish. It's necessary so that you can have the physical, mental, emotional ability to pour into people and do the things that God has called you to do. You have to. All right. I love you. And I mean it, peanut. Mwah.